Oh, right. Yeah, Lydia Day. Lydia Day is Friday, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I thought definitely a Lydia Day. And it's Lydia's PayPal my picks, and I'm being a selfish pig. It's all Chris Cornell. It's only going to be a mini day. I'll filter some more Lydia um requests, but yeah, I just thought yeah, it's going to be a Chris day. And this is, well, actually, this is kind of a twofer because it's Chris and Brian May, but it's Chris's song, and then they covered it. Brian May and someone else covered it in the Spider-Man 2 movie, which to me they're the Spider-Man movies, not the Tom Holland new ones. I ain't even watched them, but the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, especially the first one. But yeah, the second one too. So I might have a real nostalgic thing with Brian May's version because I think it's going to trigger me remembering that film, but I don't know the song. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I'm probably gonna know, yeah, the cover. But anyway, yeah, Chris Cornell, "Someone to Die For." So yeah, it's Chris's song, but they covered it for and it was in the movie, which actually is quite a big shout out to have Brian May cover your song. Yeah, that's a big shout out for Chris. But yeah, let's go.
Before you landed, I had a wheel, but didn't know what it could do. You were abandoned
I've missed Chris. I've missed Chris. But I kind of wish Chris had half the voice that he actually has. I wish he wasn't as good singer because people don't appreciate his songwriting. Chris Cornell, I would say, I mean, his singing is amazing, and like that bit towards the end, yeah, how he kind of switched up the delivery type, like the timing, but his songwriting, and I think like when people have like I've said it before about Chris that like everybody says Chris's voice, Chris's voice, Chris's voice. And no one like people forget that yeah, he's got a great voice, but he's got a great voice that's singing great songs, which only makes his voice more great. But his songwriting's so good, so good. And like I said, it says something that Brian May covers your song. Like that's a big, yeah, that's a big respect thing. Like, yeah. But that was fire. That was a beautiful song. And I do think Chris is the Beatle that was born like whatever, 40 years too late, 30 years too late, whatever. Because it's so, and I know like now from hearing his book, like that, because I always heard the Beatles thing, but not just in his, like you hear a Beatles thing in every bit of, like in Temple of the Dog and Soundgarden and but when you hear that how much he loved Lennon, and it's like it makes sense, and it's funny because he does have his own sound. Like he doesn't, you can't say Soundgarden sounds like the Beatles. It's just like if you're a fan of the Beatles, like I can't, like you can feel the influences there. But yeah, yeah, that was a beautiful. That's a beautiful song. Like I say, Chris's songwriting. But yeah, this is yeah, it's Jimmy Gnecco, Gnecco, Jimmy Gnecco. Um, but featuring Brian May. So yeah, same song, "Someone to Die For" off the Spider-Man 2 soundtrack. So yeah, let's go.
Before you landed, I had a will, but didn't know what it could do. You were abandoned, and still you're handing out what you don't want to lose. You make me drop things like all the plans I had for a life without you. Someone to die for, someone to fall into when the world goes dark. Someone to die for, someone to tear a hole in this endless night. Someone like you. I'm drunk when sober, the room is spinning. You are what I hold on to. You're taking over. I find that giving in is the best I can do. Someone to die for,
That's a great version too. That's a great version too. It's funny when Brian starts playing as well because it's like he's just put his signature on. You could just tell that's Brian May playing guitar. Like even if it weren't mentioned, you just know, or you'd think that's someone trying to sound like Brian May. But yeah, yeah, because Lydia said which one's better, but you'd have to say Chris's. But I will say about this version, it's kind of like they gave like, and it probably comes from Chris's self lack of self belief that he had, but this that one seems like that they really gave the song the respect it's due. Whereas to Chris, it's just another song he wrote. Do you know what I mean? But I'd say Chris is better because I'll say about his voice too. That I realised the second one was a better version for hearing more of the words. But I also thought I do tend to do that with Chris. I say all the time, I don't really care what he's singing, but that voice just affects you without you even noticing it. Because I picked up quite a lot of the words in Chris's thing, but a lot of the time you do just tone out and just listen to that sound of his voice. You do think like you don't even realize that you're doing it. But yeah, the second one I definitely heard more of the lyrics. But I do think because the second one sounded even more Beatles, and I was thinking it shows you how influential the Beatles actually was because Chris, as I said, is a big Beatles fan. But also, so was Brian May. Like I'm sure one of Brian May, well, Freddie was, and John Lennon too, Freddie. But the Beatles in general, and I can't remember what member of Queen said it, but said that the Beatles wrote the book. Like they're just kind of doing their own interpretation of it, really. But yeah, yeah. So that's kind of crazy that that's a big arm of influence that well, I mean the Beatles do anyway. But yeah, you see it with two different generations of great artists, both massive Beatles fans and influenced by them. But yeah, yeah, the second version was great. I have to say, and like I say, yeah, it seemed like the first one sounded like the songwriter. It sounded like it was being sung by the songwriter, and it was like, do you know what I mean? Like the second one felt like a fan of the song that respected it for its greatness in their making of it because they done a great, powerful version and kind of cleaned like it would. The second one was definitely cleaner, but that's what I mean. Like Chris was more real because he is. But yeah, the second one you could argue was even more Beatley. But yeah, yeah. I mean, either one that you picked that you think's better. I mean, it's Chris's song, and like I said here in his version, you can hear it. It's just a great song, great melody, great way the words flow into each other. Like Chris is a master songwriter. But yeah, that's the difference. I'd say one sounded like the songwriter playing a song of theirs that's just one of many, and the second one was legit fans of the song making the best version of it they could do. Do you know what I mean? That's what it sounded. They really sounded like they gave respect to the song. But yeah, yeah, Chris is the goat. Chris is the goat, and there's more Chris coming. So yeah, that's the reaction. Sweet.